Hello there, my stamping friends. This is Susan from Pumpkin Hill Stampers, and I'm going to do a Stampin' Show and Tell for you today. I'm going to be casing the catalog in this video, and so if you have the annual catalog, we have our beautiful set Forever Fern, which is one of my favorites, and they have these 3 samples in the catalog where they say simplify or step it up. So I'm going to demonstrate real quickly the first 2 cards, and then we're going to really talk about the third one, which is the stepped up version. And I love the background technique they used. So let's start by making the card, and I'll take you through each one as it changes. Okay, so this card is done on crumb cake. Okay, that's our base color. And the first one is just simply a flat, no embossed, no background card base. And then I've stamped 3 of the images from the stamp set. Okay. And I've got them in different colors, and then I've got my sentiment, and all those are popped up on dimensionals. So I'm just going to place these in a square here on my card. Actually, I think this one goes this way. So this one comes in, this one's next to it. Yeah, I'm going to move it over. Nope, not moving it over. Okay, we're going to put it right on the edge for this one. Should have started with that one, huh? Okay, this one goes underneath, and then the last one goes here. So those 4 squares, each stamped differently, create a square of their own on the card, and you've got a simple stamping card right there. Simple stamping, simple adhesion, nice basic background. Okay, that's fine. All right, now let's step it up a little. So now for the second one, I took those same images, only this time I stamped them twice. So this time I stamped them, and then I stamped them again, and I went to my die cutting machine with my coordinating dies, and I die cut each one. Then I came back and added it to the square with a dimensional underneath. So now all of these are popped up one layer on my card. Okay, and in the book it adds a background. So this time they add a cut down layer. Okay, so that just brings in a framed layer onto the card, just like this, and then they have one more die cut from the coordinating dies. Now there's not a stamp that coordinates with this, this is just an extra die cut. And what they've done in the catalog is they've just put it behind, and then they created that same layout with their stamped and now die cut and popped up squares. Okay, so if we adhered that together, it would look something like that. Okay, so nice and simple, plain, no texture, no stamping, card base. Nice and simple, works for me. Second one, they popped it up with another layer of the same color, so we got tone on tone, color on color. One die cut to add just a little bit of texture, okay, and then those same 4 images, but this time they're die cut and popped up and framed with a square underneath. Okay, so now the last version. This is the one that I'm going to take a little more time on to show you. So this time I've got 4 of these die cuts, okay, and this piece that was my 3 3/4 by 5 panel, I've run through the embossing machine with the 3D bark folder. Okay, so this is following the sample in the book. So this time we're going to do some faux embossing. So what is faux embossing? Faux embossing is when you use die cuts or punched out shapes and you add them to your cardstock layer, and then I'll show you, we're going to trim off the edges. So let me get my liquid adhesive ready to go, and here we go. Alright, so I'm going to flip all these over because I want to make sure I put my adhesive on the back, and I'm just going to come in and lightly add adhesive. Getting it started is always the problem. Here we go. Just add a little dab of adhesive on these. Come on. Ah, I did it. Just popped the bubble. Alright. It's okay. I'm just going to tear that piece off because I don't want to mess with a glob of glue. And you're thinking, how can you tear it off? Don't you need it for the card? Well, I do, but you'll see why I can tear it off. Okay. Let's start with this one. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive behind some of the leaves. Okay, it doesn't have to be all of the leaves, it can just be some of the leaves. And I really don't want a big glob, I just want little dabs. Okay, little dab, little dab. So now I'm going to bring my card in, card base, and I'm just going to add this to that embossed layer. Okay, now I'm going to take the next one, do the same thing, just add a little bit here and there, and come back and spread that one out a little. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit, and then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add this one as well. Tapping that down just a little bit. Now you see how it's hanging off the edge? That's okay. It's not a problem. So this one, I'm just going to add it more or less to this side for now. Because watch what happens when I flip it over, right? I'm only putting that side down on my card, so I won't have as much adhesive that I'm going to trim off. And then this last piece that I had first that I had way too much glue on, and I just decided to rip off that piece, still comes into play here because I'm just going to add it to this bottom corner. No one's going to know but you and me. So in the end, it'll be just fine. So I'm just going to add this one down here. Okay, so now I've covered my embossed panel with my die cuts. Right? So far, so good? Everybody with me? So now I'm just going to flip this over and I'm going to trim off all the parts that are sticking out beyond my border. So faux embossing, probably one of my favorite background techniques, but yet I don't seem to do it enough. Oh, that one came off. So let's put this one back on, press it down a little, and then I'll flip it over again. So when you're doing this at home on your own, you can certainly let your layers dry a bit in between all these steps. To keep my video a decent length, I'm just moving right along, but that's just so we're not here for a long, long time. Okay, one more try. Flip it over. Take a little trim, one more edge. Okay. Good? Alright, so now I'm going to bring this card base back in. This time we're actually going to put it together. So here's my card base. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this faux embossed layer to my card. This is one of those techniques where you could make a bunch of faux embossed cards and then add your sentiments later, right? How cool would that be? Spend a day making just faux embossed panels and then have them for when you want to make cards after. Okay, this time I'm going to do it right. I'm going to add these two rightmost squares first so that I can put them where I want them. Okay, so this one's going to go here. And then I've got my sentiment. Goes underneath. And I have this one. And then one more. So think about your dies in a new way. Think about them as creating faux embossed backgrounds. Okay? So there we go. So from the first one, that was just plain, right? No bottoms. Oh, look, I missed a piece. Let's come right in here and give this a little trim. There we go. To the stepped up version where we've got the faux embossed background panel as well. Alright, so don't worry about copying the catalog, right? It's an idea book. You're supposed to copy your catalog if it entices you to be creative. So, and even if you don't make the card exactly the way you see it in the book, use your own dies and make your own version, but think about what they've done to create those backgrounds, to create beautiful cards. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this one. You know the details will be on my blog, my links are below for shopping, and I will be back soon with more faux embossed samples. Thanks guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.